Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again.
No, it's not.
Safi, it's time to review the Masterchef Junior.
Debacle?
Masterchef Back to Win Season 12 finale, Part 2. Now, this was even more disappointing than us having our house sold by people who don't even own the house to begin with, so they sold it illegally. Whoops. This finale was almost even more disappointing than that. What do you think of that, Safi?
I don't know. It's just horrible. We're not trying to be mean and hateful.
But this is just an embarrassment to MasterChef, the entire series. Like, this would be like, I don't know, like, just pick like one of the worst contestants ever. Like, Cutter guy. Remember that Cutter guy?
No.
Cutter? You know, the big guy who was like a bully. Just imagine him winning MasterChef, or just imagine, I don't know, some really bad contestant winning. And that's what this is like. It's like just a total embarrassment to the whole series. Because now, see, that commercial threw us off because we thought, oh, the commercial is telling us they're trying to do a redo of MasterChef Junior, but they want to have it be like three people, and then still Michael wins, and Michael's like the little kid in Alexander. But no, they were doing a redo where they're having justice for Dara, and they were having it be all about Dara. And I just find it so queer and so cringeworthy, the fact in both the MasterChef Junior and the MasterChef Regular that both the winners are Asian females. And it's like, oh, look, they totally purposefully chose that this season we need to have an Asian woman win for both things. It has to be this. We have to have this type of person win. And so they basically gave her a free ride to the finale, just like they gave the girl in MasterChef Junior a free ride to the finale. And it's like, this is just like, ugh, gross. Like, this just makes me never want to watch a single episode of MasterChef again. I mean, this is like on a whole other level of like, you know, you talk about like rigging the game and selling houses that you don't own on property that you don't own, like the Nutter family did, and in Beaver Creek, Ohio, and it's kind of like that, you know, it's kind of like that level of cringeworthy, where it's like they should not have done this with this Dara girl. She was not worthwhile.
All she did the entire season was play it safe.
Yeah, just play it safe over and over.
And all she did was cook what she has at home.
Yeah, just like the girl from MasterChef Junior did the whole season. And the same thing happened. And oh, Safi, this is even more embarrassing. Remember, that kid, his whole, in MasterChef Junior, the Asian girl went up against the other Asian girl number 2. She went up against this guy. What was that guy's name?
I don't know.
Dip Tap? Was it like litter to? What was that?
Know.
You know, the little boy, the genius one.
Oh.
The Kivar or something like.
I don't know.
But his whole meal was an ode to Texas. It was a Texas meal. And then what was Michael's dish? It was
something about Texas too.
Tex-Mex. And so I find it so very interesting, the fact that you had Texas versus Asian, both shows.
I didn't even think about that.
And of course, they obviously Christian. He was just the token third. You know, they didn't even consider him. I mean, that was the other disappointing thing about this episode, besides the fact that Dara won, which is just I'm never gonna watch another MasterChef episode again ever, or maybe I just will because they get views. But that'll literally be the only reason. But what was I saying?
Well, you're talking about not watching it, but then maybe you will because it'll get views. But you were talking about they didn't consider Christian at all.
Yeah, they literally, like, to me, it felt like they just kind of acted like Christian was there. Like, to me, he was the most, he was the best one out of the three. He was the most talented one out of the three because he's consistent.
Yeah, he was consistent.
And he cooks food food perfectly. And although he did play it safe, they gave the trophy to someone who played it safe the entire fucking season. Entire season, she played it safe.
She screwed up that one challenge really badly.
Oh, she screwed up a bunch of things, and then she got free passes because they wanted an Asian woman winner. Which we're saying because it's really weird, Safi. It's really, really weird. Like, that's really bizarre. Like, it's really, really weird. Like,
I don't know. It's very disappointing.
They didn't even consider Christian, though. Like, he literally just stood there, and they were like, Christian's really good, but everyone else is better. Like, that's what they said. Like, they spent like a million years talking about Michael and Dara, and then when it came to Christian, it was like, oh yeah, and there's Christian. And then it's just like, oh, who cares?
Yeah, I think what happened with Michael is he just went to, and this is my term, shushy foo-foo, meaning he just did bizarre stuff with his dessert. It just looked like it was art. He said something about it being art on a plate, and it was art. That, to me, it was just more about art and not the dish. And he had fried ice cream. I guess it was fried ice cream. I don't know. I got confused by, fried milk, maybe. I don't know. A little tiny square that was like, you know what a piece of Chex cereal looks like? It was that size.
No, Safi, they looked like little cheese curds.
I don't know. I've never eaten one of those, so I don't know what those look like. But
like little
it's a little tiny square thing,
or like little tater tots,
smaller than that. And then he had these little circles.
There were like
lines.
These eggs, these weird like egg things, and there was like a sand. It looked like something at like a beach house or something. Like if you were to live in a beach house in Maine, they'd have this as like a decoration in the front room. Like that's what it looked like. It didn't even look like a dish. It just looked a fake decoration at an IKEA.
I think that was just disappointing in itself. And when I saw that, when he described it, it sounded like it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it sounded good.
But he said. He did say it was art on a plate. And that's what it was. It was art. It wasn't a dish. It was art. And it was like little scraps of things put together in a design. And I don't know. It's not something I would... but it's shishy foo-foo. So I could see it in a restaurant, but not any of their restaurants. This would be something like a real... modernist, experimental. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just something that would cost a lot of money, and what you would get for the money, it wouldn't be worth it. And that's a shame, because I think he is good. But I guess he overcooked the lamb. He had lamb for his entree, and that's a no-no. Total no-no. And for anybody to do that. And then his appetizer, now that looked
That looked okay.
Well, I'll just say it looked okay. The whole meal was too shushy foo.
It looked like a C plus. The entree, his entree? What was it? Was like lamb. A lamb, and it
had some kind of potato. And I saw him making the potato, but I'm like, where to go?
He hid it underneath everything else.
Yeah, it was hidden.
Because he screwed up with it and then didn't fix it. And this is the thing, though. He's been making mistakes like this for the past, 10 episodes. Like, he's been making these little sloppy mistakes, and they've basically been encouraging him by keeping him there. And this is why it's not good to keep people who play it safe or go too far. Because if you keep them and you let them advance, Dara, then they never learn from their mistakes. And they never actually do anything interesting. They just do the same thing they do over and over again. No. And all three of these people did that. Like, this is probably the most disappointing match.
No, I think it is.
But what about that?
I haven't seen them all, I think.
But what about that other one where they kicked the guy out after the entree and
they
wouldn't let him even cook the dessert because they just wanted to give it to one of those two women. And so they kicked this guy out before he could even make his dessert.
I don't like the manipulation of what goes on.
It's clear manipulation, rigging, cheating. And I don't like it. I think it's dishonest and unfair.
It isn't the contestants that are cheating, it's the judges.
It's the judges, the producers, everyone who's involved in making the show. They're a bunch of cheaters.
And I think, in this case, I think I would have rather had Christian win.
I know, I would have rather had Christian.
He was very consistent all the way through, but then I knew it after he made the entree. What was it? They didn't like it because
he undercooked two of the fillets.
Yeah, and they got this fanatical.
They've got a fetish. They've got a fetish for medium rare.
Medium rare. So two of them
They have
rare.
They have a sexual fixation on medium rare.
Well, two were medium rare. They were fine. But two were rare.
Oh. And they were like they're disarming a bomb in a Mission Impossible movie.
I know. The way they cut them open, I'm like, if I were Christian in my head, I would be going, F you.
Yeah. Like, what are you?
Ridiculous.
What are you, a 2-year-old child? Like, even a 2-year-old child wouldn't do something like this. Like, a 2-year-old would just pick up the steak and just start eating it and not care.
And they said they were different sizes, and that's probably why they weren't cooked the same.
Oh, they also said they weren't seared evenly.
So, I knew Michael and Christian. I don't think Dara screwed up her entree. I don't think there was this biggest problem with the cook.
Her entree was just another play it safe meal where she really didn't have
Chinese food.
Chinese short ribs, blah, 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 blah. You know, you've all heard it before. It's just the same old shit over and over and over again so that she can get the golden ticket. And
it's just queer because she doesn't do anything different. She just stays in one category. And then she did this dessert. And this is why I'm saying Christian should have won. Even though Christian's was, quote, simple. Simple in terms it wasn't shushy foo-foo. But Michael did his shushy foo-foo. And it was too shushy foo-foo. Even for them.
I had a feeling, though, because I've had a feeling for the entire week or more because of in that audition episode where they had that really queer moment where you had the 3 Masterchef juniors auditioning, and then one of them said, even though one of us won't get it, make sure that one of us wins the show. Like, make sure a Masterchef junior takes the trophy. And they emphasize that moment. And it's like, thinking about it like in terms of editing, why do you choose to emphasize that moment if it doesn't pay off?
I don't know. It's just that hers was meringue. It was a pile of meringue.
Her dessert
and some juice.
It was
with well, that's it.
Safi,
some little decorative stuff around the juice.
Her dessert sounds like it would make me want to throw up.
I wouldn't want that. That's another thing. I wouldn't want hers, and I wouldn't want Michael's.
When you eat meringue, you eat it on top of a lemon pie.
Or just a pie.
You don't eat a meringue all by itself. Like, that is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Well, they have these cookies called meringues, and that's what they are. Well,
that's different. Like, that's not like a meringue. Like, just thinking about, like, taking meringue off of a meringue pie and just eating that, it sort of makes me, like, nauseous to think about. Like, just, ew. But anyways, for the entrees, Christian did steaks. His one looked the best. It looked the most tasty, but quote unquote, it's not elevated enough, I guess. I don't know. They did not treat Christian seriously. They did not take his food seriously. They did not act like he was a serious competitor. They were only focused on Michael and Dara, which is what I knew the whole time. And so...
Well, if they just want two contestants, then they should just have two contestants.
No, because then that's too easy. They need to have a third one. And then Michael's dish was bad looking. It looked like a C dish. And then Dara's dish, it looked good. I think it looked like a B+ dish, but it's just another play it safe dish. And it's very, very irritating.
Yeah, so we're...
And then for the desserts, let's just go through each one, because, like, you jumped around all over the place.
Yeah.
Michael's dessert was pretentious crap. It was like I've already said it looks like something at IKEA. And then Dara's dessert was like a pile of lard on a thing of juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also looked like in Clue, you know, the movie Clue, when they're eating dessert and then they say that it's monkey's brains. And, like, that's what it looked like in that movie. It looked like this dish. And, of course, it wasn't obviously monkey brains, because I think that's illegal. You're not allowed to eat that. Unless you're in, like, I don't know, somewhere weird where you could get away with it. Would you do that, Safi?
No!
Are you sure?
No. No.
Why not?
No.
What if...
No. Don't even ask me again.
Safi.
Don't do it. I lived in Tanzania, and I was presented with a dish called insanine. And you know what insanine is?
It sounds like
grasshoppers.
Asinine. It sounds like asinine.
Well, it's a special kind of, it's Haya. Kihaya. That's the dialect. It's the Haya people. And they, every year, twice a year...
The Haya people?
Shh.
Like, Haya!
Haya. And every year, twice a year, I believe, these certain grasshoppers show up. And they have one way they cook them is they take off the legs and the head, and then they, like, I don't know what you want to call them, they fry them in oil, but they're not really fried. They're like cooking them, sauteing, kind of like sauteing. I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. Then the other thing they do is they smoke them, and they taste like, because I did try this. I tried one.
Oh.
And it tasted like, Cheetos or something.
Oh.
But I didn't want to eat that.
Safi ate the bugs.
That was like a delicacy for them.
Oh, gross.
I don't know why I'm getting on to this.
Because we're talking about monkeys' brains.
Oh, well, I wouldn't eat any monkey's brain. I said I didn't have any more except for one because it meant a lot to them. went to eat this. This was a real special thing, food for them, and the smoking of them and everything. It's like a whole process, and the basket I think that they put them in. It's really cool looking, and it's I think it's made out of banana fibers. I could be wrong.
You know what Christian should have done? He should have made a grasshopper pudding.
No, this wasn't dessert. This was like, I don't know. I guess it's kind of part of the meal.
The
like
monkey's
brains.
The monkey's brains. They said it was dessert. And remember the line, Safi?
No, I don't.
What's the line from Clue?
I don't know.
Monkey's brains, though popular in Cantonese cuisine, are not often to be found in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Remember that, Safi?
No, I don't.
That was really funny.
Not even close. But I would never eat something like that. And if it means a lot more to certain people who have it, then I'd rather let them have it.
That was my favorite line in Clue.
Well, anyway...
we should watch Clue instead of
Christian
watching Masterchef.
Christian made banana pudding, and he dressed it up with a cookie, a homemade cookie.
It looked very good. I would have eaten his easily out of every...
At least it looked edible.
That's the thing, is that...
Something edible and good.
I would have eaten the whole Christian meal over anything that those other people made.
Because they just... Easily. Michael just went too far. It's like he got worse and worse and worse. His appetizer was probably okay. It's not something I wouldn't care for any of the food. Maybe the lamb, but I don't eat lamb. See, so I wouldn't eat it.
I do.
I know, but
I love lamb, but I just didn't think his dish looked very good. It looked boring. It looked kind of like, Christian's looks way better. His whole meal was just 1,000 times better. Like I thought Michael had the best appetizer, but I thought Christian had the best entree and dessert. And
Dora's was just...
it was
fine.
It was exactly what we expected, though.
It was all safe, and she would probably disagree with that, I can imagine, but it's just something she's grown up with. Flavors from her past.
Which they criticized Christian for, but they didn't criticize her.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. And that's why, Michael went too far. But that's what they usually like. For somebody and they even said something about it, too. They said he went completely out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, they said he pushed it the most.
He did push it, though. But he pushed it too much. Even for them. And when you see somebody push it too far, even for them, that's pretty different.
It's kind of like in that Outer Limits episode, The Sixth Finger, where they have the dial, and he wanted her to push the dial all the way to the right so that he turns into consciousness. Remember that? The Sixth Finger?
No.
When that guy wants her to turn the dial all the way to the right, so he evolves all the way to the top, and she's like, oh, okay, I'll do that, sure. And that's what this was like. It was like, okay, let's turn the dial all the way to the right.
Yeah.
And then with Christian, it was like, let's keep it in the middle. With Dara, it's like, let's have it be a little bit less than the middle of the dial. And they gave her the victory. And to me, it's like an insult to the other chefs' talents and their effort. The fact they put so much more effort into their dishes than her, making these dishes that are harder to make, and they take more skill to make, and I was a lot more impressed with them. I don't know. I just don't like it. It's very bad. I give this episode an F-, obviously.
I'll just give it a D.
It was stupid to split the finale in half anyway. I don't know why they did that. That was kind of like a weird choice.
I don't either. But I think Christian should have won.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to let her play it safe...
then they should have let him play it safe and give him the win.
Yeah, because I don't think he completely played it safe, but
no.
The dessert might have been a little bit play it safe because Christina Tossi, who's a dessert, what would you call it? Dessert, the professor of desserts. I'll just say, could put it like that.
Yeah, she's the only person in the whole room that actually knows how to make desserts.
Yeah, real dessert that you want to eat, that looks nice and looks sweet and tasty and good. What'd she say? She said it was Michael's grandmother's dessert.
Christian's grandmother.
Christian's grandmother's dessert, but it wasn't Christian's dessert.
And to me, that's just like,
I'm just like, oh, please.
That's so gay because,
I can't stand that BS.
Safi, just think about, I want to think about Cake Boss, the Cake Boss, Mr. Cake Boss. We got a cookbook of his one year, and it's a very, very good cookbook with very, very good food. And one of the dishes was this guy named Sal. It was Sal's chocolate mousse. And it was like his chocolate mousse that they put in this cookbook. And it's like, oh, just because they're making his chocolate mousse, that means it's like it's only his. Like, that's just a bunch of bullshit. Like, because that would be like, oh, nobody can make the chocolate chip cookie because it was invented by that one person. And so that means that one person is actually the person who made it, even though they didn't. Like, see how that doesn't make any sense? Like, they can never make another Batman movie because they already made a Batman movie, and so it's not really going to be their Batman movie. And she said something else really queer, too, where well, of course, she did rightfully criticize Michael and his crappy dessert. She went up to him and she said, there cannot be 2 stars on a dish. I just think that that's a bunch of bullshit, too, because, you think about dishes like surf and turf, you have steak and lobster, that's like a classic example. Even just with like fish and chips, which is Chef Gordon's favorite food. You have to have the fish and the chips to be good, or else the dish is not going to be good. And therefore, both things on the dish are stars. And so those are both stars. It's 2 stars on a dish. Yes, you can have 2 stars on a dish.
Yeah, it's effing ridiculous, but it wasn't a good dessert.
Well,
okay?
Don't make these rules. Don't make these rules and regulations.
Yeah, well, don't treat everybody differently, because if you're gonna either want him to go out, I guess he went too far out, and then you criticize constantly throughout the years other people. Oh, you played it too safe. You should have taken more risk. And Dara played it safe the entire competition.
Yeah.
She just cooked what she knew from when she grew up, and they probably have it once a week, all year long. And she did learn in culinary school. She learned a lot. I guess she focused on it more. I'm not sure how it works, but on pastry or desserts or whatever. And that's what she comes up with. A pile of meringue and some sauce. And that's supposed to be an outstanding dessert.
She said she's a culinarian, Safi.
Oh, God.
So, well, just the fact that they told Christian to his face that he played it safe, and they couldn't even admit it that Dara played it safe. Like, they acted like, oh, that would be an absurd thing to say, that Dara played it safe. But she clearly played it safe, which is what she's been doing the whole season. Like, we came up with a funny nickname for her, where you could call her Dara the Explorer. And the joke is that she never explores anything at all, because she just does the same old shit over and over and over again. And it's like, that's not being Dara the Explorer. But
I mean, really,
could call her that.
You want to go to a restaurant and you're going to pay. I mean, you're paying a lot. And what you get Michael's dessert, which is art on a plate. And no, you'd probably be upset that you got that. And then if you got hers, you'd be like, what is this? What is this crap? So it's both were crap. Sorry, but I don't like them. And I don't want to eat a pile of meringue and some sauce.
No, I want to eat banana pudding with a lemon cookie.
Something substantial. I mean, the meat, the entree, for all three of them, was meat. And Dara's was, I thought the meat looked burned. She took it out.
No, I think it's the sauce is dark or something.
I don't know. It was very dark. It looked like it was overcooked.
It looked pretty good though. I mean, I really like ribs, so.
Oh yeah, it was short ribs, and she cooked it in a pressure cooker because they really only have an hour, and the only way to guarantee it's going to be cooked is to put it in a pressure cooker. They all agree on that, and I would agree with them too. I don't know how Christian made that cookie, because, but I guess if you get the dough and it only cooks like 12 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes, I guess you can do it. I don't know, I'm really disappointed. It's not that I'm upset that I was wrong about Michael.
No, Michael did not deserve it.
He didn't deserve to win. Sorry. He just didn't. I'm not gonna, he just went too far. And he probably would disagree because he said he was taking risk. But yeah, he did. And I really admire him for it. I thought you could just tell the whole competition he took tons of risks because
I admire Christian more because Christian makes good food. And
Christian makes good, but he's consistent.
I like
too.
to eat good food. I don't like to eat bad food. So
yeah,
I want Christian.
I don't want somebody's shushy foo experiments or somebody's pretend dessert who she thinks it's good, but it's not.
Michael had a very big problem, too, because he did not serve Aaron one of his milk balls. I mean, one of his milk cubes.
Squares.
Whatever the tater tots.
Like little, you know what they were? They looked like, how Starbursts are like little cubes? That was that size. And he didn't have enough. He needed one more to give to...
To be fair... He didn't know when he got the ingredients that there would be an extra judge.
Yeah.
Because they had to get all the ingredients when they first saw. But still, like, he said that Aaron would be the most forgiving. Which, to me...
I think that made Aaron mad.
I thought it was the biggest mistake because Aaron is Mexican and this dish was a take. It was a take on Tres Leches. He should have shorted Gordon. He should have shorted Chef Gordon. Because Chef Gordon is really the most forgiving. Because he really liked Michael. He was trying to help Michael the whole time.
He said, "You can't have come this far, and you came this far. You're not going to fail."
Yeah, that was funny. It was like he was saying that line on purpose because he knew it was going to be in a trailer or something.
Well, they knew they wanted to have Dara win. So.
Yeah, totally. And I think that Joe wanted Christian to win. Because Joe wanted Geron to win when he told Geron to play it safe by using his Southern heritage. And he said that Christian cooks with honesty.
Yes, he did.
And that honesty is more important than pretentious crap. And then they're like, oh, who cares? Let's vote for Dara. And so...
Because that's who we wanted all along anyway.
I also thought it was queer how they had the two guest judges help them decide. Because it's like, I don't know, like, neither of them were able to really make a fully formed decision since they didn't try the other dishes.
You mean they weren't there for the whole season?
They weren't there for the whole finale. Like, both of them just tried one dish. So how can you help people make a decision if you only tried one out of the 3 dishes?
Yeah.
That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
So, Safi, anything else?
No, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up or become one of our subscribers. We welcome all new subscribers, and you might actually stumble across something that you like or that you want to try to watch and see what you think about it, or you might want to hear our take on it. We try to give honest reviews. We usually give it in terms of food, if it's like a movie or a season of a show. But this time, I don't know. I think it's very disappointing.
Very disappointing. It was more satisfying to watch MasterChef Junior Season 3.
Yeah. That was really excellent. So, goodbye.